Good day guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be discussing supply theory, which is an important concept in economics that explains how and why firms produce and sell goods and services. Supply theory helps us understand how firms make decisions about what to produce, how much to produce, and at what price to sell their goods and services. We'll be going over the basic principles of supply theory as well as some of the key factors that influence a firm's supply decisions. So, whether you're a student of economics or just someone who's curious about how firms make decisions, this video is for you. So let's get started. The theory of supply is a concept in economics that describes the relationship between the quantity of a good or service that a producer is willing and able to offer for sale and the price of that good or service. According to the theory, as the price of a good or service increases, the quantity of that good or service that a producer is willing and able to offer for sale will also increase, and vice versa. The theory of supply is one of the fundamental building blocks of microeconomics theory and is used to analyze the behavior of firms and markets. Supply theory has two categories: the firm supply and industry supply. Firm supply refers to the relationship between the quantity of good or service that a specific firm is willing and able to produce and offer for sale and the price of that good or service. It is a specific application of the theory of supply and is used to analyze the behavior of individual firms in a market. The firm supply curve shows the relationship between the price of the good or service and the quantity of the good or service that the firm is willing to produce and sell. The slope of the supply curve is positive, meaning that as the price of the good or service increases, the quantity of good or service that the firm is willing to produce and sell also increases. There are several types of firms that differ in terms of their ownership, organizational structure, and the scope of their operations. Some of common types of firms include sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, cooperative, nonprofit organization, government-owned enterprise. Sole proprietorship is a business owned and operated by a single individual who is also personally liable for the business debts and obligations. Second is partnership. Partnership is a business owned by two or more individuals who share the profits and losses of the business and are also personally liable for the business debts and obligations. Corporation is a legal entity that is separate and distinct from its owners, known as shareholders. Shareholders elect a board of directors to oversee the management of the corporation, and the shareholders are not personally liable for the corporation's debts and obligations. Next is cooperative. A cooperative is a business owned and controlled by its members, who share in the profits and losses of the business. Next is non-profit organization. Is a business or organization that is created for a specific social or public purpose and does not distribute profits to its owners or shareholders. Government-owned enterprise. A government-owned enterprise is a business that is owned and operated by the government, which may be at the federal, state, or local level. Each type of these firms has its own advantages and disadvantages, and the choice of which type of firm to form will depend on the individual goals and objectives of the owners or founders. Under the firm supply is the law of supply. The law of supply is one of the basic principles of microeconomics and is used to understand the behavior of firms and producers in a market economy. Law of supply, it states that there is a positive relationship between the price of a good or service and the quantity of that good or service that firms are willing and able to produce and sell. The slope of the supply curve, which is upward sloping, represents the marginal cost of production. As price increases, the firms can afford to pay higher production costs, which in turn leads to increased production and supply. Additionally, as prices increase, firms may see an opportunity to earn higher profits and may therefore increase production to take advantage of that opportunity. However, it's worth nothing that the law of supply doesn't hold true in all situations. For example, the short run, firms may not have the ability to increase production quickly, even if the prices are high. Additionally, there may be the other factors that affect the ability of willingness of firms to produce and supply a good or service, such as government regulations, taxes, subsidies, and technological advancements. In summary, the law of supply states that as the price of a good or service increases, firms will increase the quantity supplied, and as the price decreases, firms will decrease the quantity supplied. This relationship is represented by the upward sloping supply curve. Next is the supply function. Supply function is a mathematical relationship that describes how much of a good or service a producer is willing and able to supply at different prices. It is a key concept in microeconomics and is used to analyze the behavior of firms in the market. There are different types of supply functions, including linear supply function, nonlinear supply function, inelastic supply function, elastic supply function, perfectly elastic supply function, and perfectly inelastic supply function. Linear supply function. This is represented by the equation S times P equals A plus BP, where S times P is the quantity supplied, P is the price of a good, and A and B are constants. The constant A represents the quantity supplied at a price of 0 and the constant P represents the change in the quantity supplied for a unit change in price. Next is nonlinear supply function. This type of function does not have linear relationship between price and quantity supplied. Next is an elastic supply function. This is a supply function in which the quantity supplied does not change much in response to changes in price. Next, elastic supply function. This is a supply function in which the quantity supplied changes significantly in response to changes in price. Next is the perfectly elastic supply function. This is a supply function in which the quantity supplied is infinite at a given price and 0 at any higher price. Perfectly inelastic supply function also is a supply function in which the quantity supplied does not change at all in response to changes in price. All of these types of functions are used to help understand the behavior of firms in a market and the relationship between price, quantity supplied, and other factors that influence the supply of a good or service. Producer surplus also is under of firm supply. Producer surplus is a measure of the economic welfare or benefit that producers receive from producing and selling a good or service. It is the difference between the minimum price that a producer would accept for a good or service and the actual market price at which it is sold. Graphically, producer surplus is represented by the area between the supply curve and the market price line above, the minimum price that a producer would accept. The higher the market price is, the above the minimum acceptable price. The larger the producer surplus will be, a producer surplus can be used to measure the overall well-being of producers in the market. A larger producer surplus generally indicates that producers are able to earn higher profits from their goods or services, which can lead to increased investment and growth in the market. On the other hand, a smaller producer surplus may indicate that producers are facing competition or other challenges that are limiting their ability to earn a good return on their investments. In summary, producer surplus is the difference between the minimum price a producer is willing to accept for a good or service and the actual market price received. It is a measure of the economic welfare or benefit the producer receives for producing and selling a good or service. The next category of theory supply is industry supply. Industry supply refers to the relationship between the quantity of a good or service that all firms within an industry are willing and able to produce and offer for sale, and the price of the good or service. It is an extension of the theory of firm supply, which analyzes the behavior of individual firms to the market level. The industry supply curve is obtained by summing up the quantity of a good or service that each firm in the industry is willing to produce and sell at different prices, resulting in a curve that shows the relationship between the price of the good or service and the total quantity of the good or service that the industry is willing to produce and sell. The slope of the industry supply curve is also positive, meaning that as the price of the good or service increases, the total quantity of the good or service that the industry is willing to produce and sell also increases. Under the industry supply is the industry equilibrium in the short and long run, zero profit, and rental rates and price. Industry equilibrium refers to the point at which the quantity of a good or service that firms are willing and able to produce is equal to the quantity that consumers are willing and able to purchase. In other words, it is the point at which the supply and demand curves for a good or service intersect. In the short run, an industry is in equilibrium when firms are producing the quantity at which marginal cost equals marginal revenue. At this quantity, Firms are maximizing their profits, and the market price is determined by the intersection of the supply and demand curve. However, the number of firms and their production capacities are fixed in the short run. In the long run, an industry is in equilibrium when firms are producing at the minimum point of their long-run average total cost curve. At this quantity, firms are able to earn only normal profits, and the market price is determined by the intersection of the long-run industry supply curve and the demand curve. In the long run, firms can enter or exit the industry, and existing firms can change their production capacities. It is worth noting that the industry could be in a state of disequilibrium in the short run if the market price is not equal to the minimum point of the firm's short-run average total cost curve, or in the long run, if the market price is not equal to the minimum point of the firm's long-run average total cost curve. In these cases, firms will have an incentive to enter or exit the industry. In economics, zero profit in the industry supply means that firms in the industry are earning only enough revenue to cover their cost of production. This means that firms are not making any economic profit, but they are still able to stay in business. Zero profit is a normal condition in a perfectly competitive market, as firms are unable to charge a higher price than the market price due to competition. In this case, firms will only continue to produce as long as their revenue covers their cost. Next is rental rates and price. Rental rates and price are related but different concepts. Rental rates refer to the cost of renting a property, such as an apartment of a commercial space, for a specific period of time. The rental rate is typically expressed as a monthly or annual cost, and is usually determined by the landlord or property owner. Price. The price, on the other hand, refers to the cost of purchasing a property. The price of property is determined by factors such as location, size, condition, and the current state of the real estate market. A property's price can be affected by changes in demand, interest rates, and other economic factors. Rental rates and price are related because they are both affected by the demand for a property. When demand for a property is high, landlords may be able to charge higher rental rates, and property owners may be able to sell their properties at higher prices. Conversely, when demand is low, landlords may have to lower their rental rates, and property owners may have to lower their prices. In conclusion, supply theory states that the quantity of a goods or service that the producer is willing to supply is determined by the price of that good or service. As the price increases, the quantity supplied will also increase, and as the price decreases, the quantity supplied will decrease. This relationship is known as the law of supply. Additionally, there are several factors that can affect a producer's decision to supply a goods or service, including production cost, technology, and government regulations. Understanding supply theory is important for understanding how markets work and can help individuals and businesses to make informed decisions about production and consumption. And that's all for today's video. My name is John Lloyd Ikoyuka from BSB 2 third schedule.